shouldn't even laugh. You got a lot going on with your own husband and your own life. Y'all got all y'all hoes got going on.
You ain't gotta try to blast me. I know my type.
Zell, what do you mean by saying Yandy has a lot going on in her marriage? What have you heard?
I mean, do you follow the shade room? Scroll down there, you'll find it all out right there in the shade room. They up to date about that man in them hotels and all his girls.
But you just gonna let your husband somebody else?
What are you talking?
Why am I? Don't. First of all, you be everybody in Atlanta and everybody knows you. You're not gonna talk to him like that. But I am. And what are you gonna do to us? And what are you gonna do? You're not gonna talk to him. Don't play with me. What am I gonna do with him? Play with me with him.
For almost 20 years, Yandy Smith and Mendeecees Harris sold us one of reality TV's greatest love stories. 2 weddings on national television, a ride-or-die wife who held her man down through a federal prison sentence, and a blended family that looked picture-perfect on Instagram. But just weeks ago, Mendeecees sat down on a radio show and said the words that shattered everything. They were never legally married, not once, not after the first ceremony, not after the second one. And on top of that, they've already been done for over a year. Now the internet is picking apart every single moment, every defense Yandy made, every denial Mendeecees gave, and what's coming to the surface is way uglier than anyone expected. Because this wasn't just a man stepping out on his woman. This was a 2-decade illusion that both of them were apparently keeping alive for very different reasons. And what really went down behind the scenes might change how you look at both of them forever. To really understand how deep this goes, you have to go back to the beginning. Yandy and Mendeecees linked up around 2008 and quickly became one of the most talked about couples in reality TV history when they joined the cast of Love and Hip Hop New York. Yandy was the smart, ambitious businesswoman. Mendeecees was the street-savvy music manager from Harlem, running his own recording studio in the Bronx called Beat Factory. Together, they looked like the perfect balance. But underneath that image, things were already complicated. Mendeecees had children from previous relationships, including a son with Samantha Wallace and another with his ex Erica Racine. And while Yandy stepped up and embraced the blended family life, Mendeecees was heading straight into a legal nightmare. In December 2015, he pleaded guilty to federal charges tied to a distribution ring that ran from New York City to Rochester. He was caught up in some serious legal trouble that landed him behind bars. He was sentenced to 8 to 10 years. And this is where Yandy became a fan favorite. She didn't leave, she didn't walk away, she raised the kids on her own, kept the brand going, kept the bag coming in, and waited. When they had their big televised wedding, the world celebrated with them. But here's the kicker, they never signed the papers. According to Mendeecees, it was actually Yandy's idea. She told him that with all the legal battles, fines, and court issues, it would be smarter not to make it official on paper. And he agreed. Then they had a second ceremony, and they still didn't sign. At the time, it seemed like a minor detail. Looking back now, it might have been the first sign that this whole thing was built on shaky ground. Fast forward to Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, and the cracks started showing in ways that Yandy couldn't cover up anymore. It started with Zell Swag going live and loud about Mendeecees creeping on Yandy. He claimed he had gotten calls from people on the show and people in the streets, all saying the same thing.
So Mendeecees has been cheating on Yandy since they got on Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. And I know a couple of women that he was looking at when I was over at T-High's house about a year ago. Let me tell you something, Yandy ain't exciting him no more. The Mendeecees is cheating on Yandy, Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. Are you getting this? Are you following me? The AA show is reporting live, loud, and proud, honey. And I got calls from people on the show. I've gotten calls from people in the street. Yandy Mendeecees is cheating on you. Alexis don't know about it, but guess what? I told her about it. So guess what, honey? You need to keep your man on lockdown, honey, because ever since he moved up out of that house, honey, he been everything else y'all wanda.
Then Jasmine Washington, Kirk Frost's baby mama, took things even further. She confronted Mendeecees on camera during the LHA TL season finale and told him straight up that she knew about a woman he'd been dealing with. She said the woman worked at the same bar as her and that Mendeecees had been seen there multiple times. He denied everything, told producers he just went there for a drink and didn't know the girl. But Jasmine wasn't done. She revealed that her friend Erica Racine was connected to one of the women Mendeecees was allegedly involved with. When Erica tried to confront Yandy about it, accusing her of turning a blind eye to her man sleeping with everybody in Atlanta, things almost got physical. Security had to step in. And instead of addressing the allegations head-on, Yandy chose to go after the messenger. She was ready to throw hands with Erica rather than question what her man was doing in those streets. And that's a pattern that would repeat itself over and over again. The DM scandal made things even worse for Mendeecees. Reports surfaced that he had been sliding into women's inboxes on Instagram, and one of those women just so happened to be Jessica White's niece. When Jessica found out, she didn't hold back. On camera, she told Erica and Jasmine that Mendeecees tried to holler at her niece, and that when the niece asked if he was married, his answer was that it was complicated. He didn't say yes, he didn't say no, he said complicated. And Jessica made it clear that if her niece ever wanted to speak up, she had her full support. But here's where it gets wild. When the DM screenshots started floating around, Yandy pulled out a defense that nobody saw coming. She went on camera and said with a straight face that she was the one sliding into those girls' DMs. She claimed she was testing them to see who would respond to her man. The way she said it so casually had fans split right down the middle. Some thought it was a genius move to protect her relationship. Others wondered just how far Yandy was willing to go to keep up appearances. Because at that point, it wasn't about loyalty anymore. It was starting to look like damage control. And the damage was only getting started. Things took a whole different turn when Mendeecees popped up in Tamar Braxton's visual album for her project Heartbreak Retrograde in August 2025. In the video, he played her love interest, and while celebrities acting together in music videos is nothing new, the timing raised eyebrows. This dropped just 1 week after Tamar told the world she had suffered a serious medical emergency that left her with a mouth injury and missing teeth. Nobody knew what really happened. Then Funky Deneva entered the chat. The popular YouTuber and Tamar's former friend went on a live stream and dropped some heavy allegations. He claimed he personally witnessed Mendeecees and Tamar getting way too close in the back of an Uber. According to Funky, Tamar was sitting on Mendeecees' lap all over him, and it made him deeply uncomfortable. He then claimed that when they arrived at Tamar's house, Mendeecees and his friend went upstairs with her, and this, Funky said, was the same night Tamar sustained her injury. He flat out said that if anyone knew what really happened that night, it was Mendeecees and his best friend. Tamar shot back with a statement on Instagram calling the allegations hurtful and completely untrue. She said she would be letting her lawyers handle it. But what's interesting is that neither Mendeecees nor Yandy ever addressed the Tamar situation publicly. Complete silence. Whether the allegations were true or not, the fact that Mendeecees was tangled up in yet another woman's drama while still supposedly in a relationship with Yandy told its own story. And reports suggest this wasn't an isolated situation. Word was spreading that anytime Mendeecees was out for what he called work, there were always multiple women around him until he was ready to head home. But here's the part that the internet didn't see coming. While everyone was focused on Mendeecees being the villain, the spotlight suddenly turned on Yandy. Her former hairstylist, a man named Bryant Jameson, went public and accused Yandy of having an affair of her own. He claimed that a trip they took to London, supposedly for his birthday, was really just a cover so Yandy could link up with a man she had been seeing over there. A photo from that trip reportedly caused Jameson's own boyfriend to think he was the one cheating, and according to Jameson, Yandy never stepped in to clear his name. That's what pushed him to expose her. The man Yandy was allegedly involved with was a London-based fitness trainer named Michael Aduse, and unlike most rumor situations where the other person stays quiet, Michael actually confirmed the whole thing on his Instagram story. He wrote that out of respect for everyone involved, he had stayed silent while the internet did its thing, but he wanted to be clear. He was involved with Yandy, and it was not just a one-time situation. It happened over a period of time. When the accusations made their way to Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, Mendeecees' mother Judy Harris sat Yandy down and pressed her about the London man. Yandy tried to brush it off, saying the guy was just someone showing her around and everything else was extra. But when Judy asked if they had both cheated, Yandy admitted to emotional cheating. In his own confessional, Mendeecees said he didn't fully believe her. He said taking accountability wasn't in her nature, and that he had no idea what she actually did. He felt like things were being left unsaid. So for years, Yandy had been playing the loyal wife in public while reportedly dealing with her own situation on the side. And the fans who had been defending her suddenly had to rethink everything. By December 2025, the whole facade came crashing down.
About you in the streets, because it was like, dang, if she held him down.
So even if me and Yandy decide to break up, it's no one's business but our household. Right? So if you see me acting inappropriate, it's appropriate for me. It's maybe not for you, because I'm sorry you wasn't in the group chat when we decided that. You know what I'm trying to say? I'm sorry you was in our bedroom when we had this conversation, and you know and that's the problem, because a lot of times these rumors, you know, we so private that we sit back and we laugh at it.
Mendeecees appeared on the Street's morning takeover show with Young Jock and laid it all out. He confirmed that he and Yandy had been split up for over a year. He confirmed that despite 2 televised ceremonies, they were never legally married and would not be going through any divorce. When he was pressed on why they never signed the papers, he explained it plainly. It was Yandy's idea at first because of his legal and financial problems, and then it just stayed that way. They got married again and still didn't sign. But here's the part that hit different. Despite everything, Mendeecees didn't trash Yandy. He credited her for helping him grow over the past 2 decades. He said he wouldn't be the man he is today without her. He talked about how she changed the way he looked at family and matured him in ways he never expected. But he also made it clear that whatever they were, it's over now. The relationship that millions of fans watched unfold on television for years was done, and it ended the same way it apparently began, without a signature. What happened next was almost predictable. Both Yandy and Mendeecees took to social media and started throwing subliminals at each other like it was a sport. Mendeecees reposted videos bragging about how his single life looked better than anyone else's. He was out here living it up and making sure the internet knew it. Yandy, on the other hand, posted footage from a trip to Africa alongside cryptic memes about loyalty, chaos, and people who add to your problems when your world is already falling apart. One of her reposts read that she lost respect for someone who knew her world was crashing down and still decided to add to the chaos. Neither of them named the other directly, but fans didn't need a decoder ring to figure out what was going on. Meanwhile, rumors started buzzing on TikTok that Mendeecees might have moved on with an ex, possibly even gotten engaged, though none of that has been confirmed. Some fans feel devastated watching a 20-year love story fall apart. Others say Yandy should have left a long time ago and that the signs were there from the very beginning. The fake wedding with no signed license, the endless cheating rumors, the public humiliation. It's been said that sometimes people hold on, not because it's love, but because they've invested too much to walk away. And after 2 decades, 2 fake weddings, cheating accusations on both sides, a federal prison sentence, and a social media shade war, it looks like that's exactly what happened here. A relationship that was never legally real but somehow managed to fool the entire internet for almost 20 years. The question isn't whether they should have stayed together. The question is why it took this long for the truth to come out. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit that like button and subscribe if you're rocking with the channel. I'll catch you in the next one.